Let's just pour another drink real quick, see if we can get anything else out of us.
We're back with another episode of the Bourbon Pursuit podcast. My name is Kenny, and we're here with our 22nd episode, and Ryan is finally back to join us. So Ryan, welcome back.
It's good to be back. Sorry I missed you there. We planned to do this for our 20th episode, and I had to delay them because of the kiddos, but they're doing great. They're actually going to get to come home in the next few days, so excited about that. And it's good to be back and kind of recap, this whole experience. We've done, this is 22 now, and we've screwed up a lot. We've done some good things, I think, and I think we're getting good feedback, but it's been a great journey, and we're going to keep it going. So
yeah, I agree. I think we've done pretty well for ourselves so far. I just checked our stats this morning, and we've surpassed now the 10,000 plays mark, right? So there's been over 10,000 plays of our podcast, which is fantastic. We're averaging anywhere between 350 to 600 plays per episode, depending upon who the guest is. But there's definitely been some guests that have stood out in our opinions, I think, more than others. I mean, have you had like a favorite one that you've been favored towards with interviewing so far?
From their bar to yours, Chad and Sarah of the popular YouTube channel It's Bourbon Night bring you their favorite at-home old-fashioned mix with the new Elemental Elixir's Golden Hour Syrup. It's a custom-made syrup with notes of bold black tea, warm spices, and orange zest. All you need is your favorite whiskey and ice. No bitters needed. One bottle makes 16 drinks, so that's only $1 a cocktail before you add your own whiskey. They can also be enjoyed in other cocktails or spirits, mocktails, coffee, tea, and anything you can think of. It's crafted locally in Lexington, Kentucky, and you can get your bottle now at whiskeyambitions.com. Ed Bly and Rising Tide Spirits are back again with a new release of Old Stubborn Bourbon. And this release of Old Stubborn is a premium hand marriage of 10, 11, and 12-year cask strength, barely filtered pot still bourbon. It comes in at a staggering 123.8 proof, and the flavoring grain for this one, which the last one was wheated, but this time it's now rye. Rich, sweet, and bold with a long finish that's sure to be another eye-opener. You can order online at Sealbox or thebourbonconcierge.com, and you can even purchase in person at Revival Vintage Spirits, and even now with very few select stores in Kentucky. You can get it now while you can, but be sure to do it because it's not going to last long. Do you ever pour yourself a bourbon, swirl it around, and then start struggling to come up with tasting notes? And perhaps you're also looking for a good Father's Day gift idea. Well, you can now solve both with a kit from Knows Your Bourbon. And unlike other nosing kits on the market, Knows Your Bourbon kits feature real ingredients for the most authentic aromas. You can smell real Tahitian vanilla bean instead of some synthetic aroma that's just made from chemicals. So head on over to knowsyourbourbon.com and enter code BP10 for 10% off your order. Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many great bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single barrel bourbon to try with some help from one of their friendly guides. And with every bottle comes the confidence of knowing you just found something amazing. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find only at Total Wine & More. Curbside pickup and delivery available in most areas. Visit TotalWine.com to learn more. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly and be 21.
Play Whiskey Wednesday Round 11, the memory game. Until June 26, each week you could win one of our 12 incredible grand prizes. Select $2 at checkout. And if they match on drawing night, you'll win that bottle. Not a match? No worries. You still score a Weller 12-year. Every $5 ticket gives you 5 chances to win, including 4 weekly bonus prizes. Get your tickets now at give270.org. Charitable Gaming License ORG 0002703.
Well, one of them was the Sipp'n Corn episode. That was very informative, very cool. Just all the history.
The origin story of Ezra Brooks was one that I really found interesting because you see on the bottles now of Ezra Brooks that they talk about having all sorts of history. They talk about having a history of not just their bourbon, but master distillers going back generations. And you find out that there's a lawsuit from the late 50s that has the entire origin story of Ezra Brooks, and it's a brand created out of thin air in 1957. So there is no true history to Ezra Brooks, despite what the labels say. So that's been another interesting point that I've learned here is there is a lot of puffing and in the marketing that goes on with bourbon labels. And I think what people are finally latching on to is that honesty is important and truth is important, and people don't want to feel duped by marketers.
By the way, we do not have a guest on the episode today. We're just kind of just rambling on between us two right now. I just think we wanted to kind of do an update of kind of what we've learned so far and what we've thought about our guests. And so far, I think that we've done a great job of getting a different mix of guests from, as you said, with Brian of Sipp'n Corn, from bloggers and Blake, to people that are actually in the industry. They're the actual master distillers, to people that are just, historians, or they're in the quote unquote part of the entertainment industry of it. Right. I think we've got a lot of different things that we can still cover, and we've got a whole lot more guests that are still lined up to go as well. Yeah,
we even scratched the surface. I mean, there's so many parts that create the bourbon industry, and we still got get in contact and do episodes with the still people, the staves. There's so many ways we can get this information, guys, because there's so much involved, with getting that liquor to the bottle, that there's just so many people and stories that make it unique, and we're excited we're going to be able to bring that to you.
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to try doing our best. And, one of the great things that happened in the past episode with, our friends from Boundary Oak, that wasn't even something that we thought of. Right. This was actually something that was a listener sent us an email, and they said, you guys should probably go check them out. And so that was one of the things, and that's what we really need, right? We need some help and support at sometimes too, because your feedback makes the show better. It helps us get the guests that we want, and we can also, try to adjust it for everybody's listening pleasure. We're definitely not in it for the money, right? I mean, A, because there is none, but B, it's more about just, I think, meeting a lot of these people, and not only are we spreading knowledge and helping other people gain that knowledge about the bourbon industry, about what you can learn from all these different distillers and all these different people in it, but we're getting educated at the same time. And that's what I'm always noticing, is that whenever we bring a new guest on, I'm learning some new tidbit or fact that I never knew before.
Yeah, like with the Boundary Oak episode, he was talking about, how much better a pot still is versus a column still, and I was like, I had no idea.
Well, a true pot still bourbon obviously is going to be much more expensive than a column still. And for listeners who don't know the difference, a column still is like going to McDonald's. You've got a continuous run of French fries or a continuous run of hamburgers, and that in this instance it would be a continuous run of liquor coming out. Where a pot still is just like going to your grandma's house and having her making you one pot of French fries. So when we make a pot of liquor in a pot still, you're getting all of the flavors and all the uniqueness of those grains or whatever you're making with that goes through your column, that goes to your distillate. So it's a slower process. So you get to really experience how bourbon was made before the introduction of the continuous still in the late 1800s. This is how Scotch is made, so to speak. So the exciting thing about it is you've got companies like Willett that are going to be coming out with some of this wonderful bourbon, this pot stilled bourbon. They've got the jump on us other guys, and so they've got a lot of bourbon put up, just going to set the world on fire, I'm telling you now. And you're going to have a lot of other craft distillers that are all following in behind making these pot still bourbon. So I think our offering to the world will be limited, but will be very appreciative by people who enjoy bourbon. And if you can get one of them, you can get a bottle, you've got a real prize.
So I had no idea. There's just so much little nuggets of information that, go into making these unique products, and it's cool to figure out what all takes place. We're about 2/3 through the year. Let's talk about some of your favorite releases this year.
Am I thinking of releases of past, or am I thinking about something that's also going to come in the future here? Because there's definitely some things that are going to be coming out.
Well, that you've tasted this year that's actually been released and you've actually drank and have in your hands?
Yeah, when we recorded our first episode, we had brought over some good bourbons just to kind of have something to sip on as we were doing this, and we kind of talked about some of the releases because we actually started our first episode. I think it was right after the whole Pappy rush, right? So after the fall release of Pappy, but everything that's happened since then, we've all done our fair share of trading and buying and whatnot to get stuff. And one of the things that's kind of taming me from trying everything is the fact that I'm moving house right now, and I've got about 70 bottles of bourbon that are sitting in my parents' basement, so I really don't get a chance to even crack them open. But there's definitely been some good ones that I've opened this year. First, of course, is the George T. Stagg from 2014. Amazing bourbon. It's almost wanted me to try to sit there and see if I can't get any prior years to try to really compare it against. But I think I'll just hold out for this fall's release. I think that'll probably be a good indication of what's to come. And then, of course, one of the great things that I love that is it's always a consistently good bourbon, and you can get it almost any time of the year, is if you have the ability to go to Willet's Distillery and go to their gift shop. I mean, anything that's within that 10 to 13 year range in there is usually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Never been disappointed, right? Now, I have been disappointed with some Willets, but usually some of those are like store picks or something like that. But the fact that Drew can just pick everything that he wants right there in the gift shop, I think those are maybe the premium barrels.
Yeah, even the 9 year really was a really great selection this year, and the 11 is one of my top fives of this year. The 11 and the 22 also. I mean, it's pretty outstanding. It's a high price tag, but it's got a lot of complexities, and it's worth every penny of it.
It is. It's funny. We get we're in those. We had our first episode. We kind of talked about bourbon hunting groups, and that's definitely been going strong. And even this week, there was a text that came out that said, Willet released yet another 22. Who wants to run out to the distillery? And that was on a Saturday. But of course, everybody's got stuff to do on Saturdays and can't drive out, 45 minutes to go and get it. But it's one of those things where they are releasing a lot more 22s than I would anticipated.
Yeah, it's like we got one of the first barrels. I think it was like C16 or something. And you're like, all right, we got it. And then they come out with another one.
Then it's like next week, and we're like, wait a second. What? I thought this was it, right?
So I definitely think they're taking advantage of the how hot bourbon is right now, especially these unique releases and whatnot.
Well, I mean, even with unique releases, they're not the only ones taking advantage.
Right.
Look across the street at what Heaven Hill is going to be doing in the fall.
Yeah.
With I think it's
John Fitzgerald.
It's a 20. Is it a 20-year?
It's a 20-year Stitzel Weller. From what I know is that they purchased some barrels from Stitzel Weller in the early 90s before it closed, and then at 20, it's either 20 or 22, they put it in steel tanks to stop the aging, and now they're going to bottle that in a 375 milliliter, and it's probably going to be around $300 to $350, which is insane, but I'm sure they'll sell. So.
That's a hefty price tag. I mean, and not only that, it's a hefty price tag for something that might not even be barrel strength.
Right.
Like we don't even really know what it's going to be yet. So I think it's pretty crazy the price tags that they're searching for some of these. Not only that is maybe they're being smart, right? They're seeing like, well, what can I get for this? What are people willing to pay?
Right.
Why would I let somebody go and charge that on the secondary market so they can make money when I can just do it right out of the gate?
Yeah. Another thing they're doing is just gift shop releases. So they're kind of, instead of they're cutting the middlemen out, so they're able to just pocket all. So it's a pretty smart business move. But it's
because you had things like the William Heaven Hill released this year, right? That was actually something that was blew my mind. So anybody that didn't know, so William Heaven Hill, another product that comes from Heaven Hill, but it's a barrel proof. I believe this year it was like 144 proof or something like that. It was up there. I mean, you looked at it, it looked like black charcoal, like just in a bottle, right? I mean, it was definitely some dark stuff. But from what I heard, we had some friends that tried to go out there. They, the gift shop opens at 9 a.m. They're like, okay, well, we'll just leave here at like 8 and we'll get there as soon as it opens. Well, they got there and there was already a line of 100 people standing out there.
Yeah.
They didn't even stand a chance.
They even had that for the Elijah Craig barrel proof. I think it was 7 or 8. they released it down at the Evan Williams Experience downtown Louisville, and I got the tweet at like 8 a.m. It opened at 10, and there was already like 50 people in line, and they only had 75 bottles. So it's crazy how much that they're able to get this draw for these rare releases, and that people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah, not only that is for anybody that ever thinks that they're going to visit Louisville. And it was funny because I was actually at a liquor barn here recently, and I saw a guy pull up, and he asked me. He said, "How far away is downtown from here?" I said, "Oh, it's just there." And I said, "You guys not from around here?" He goes, "No." And I said, "Well, what are you doing at a liquor barn?" He goes, "Oh, well, we came here to find some good bourbons that we can't get back home." I go, "You're searching in the wrong part of the country." I said, anything that's in Louisville, if it comes out, it's going to be picked clean within the day.
Yeah.
So the odds of you ever coming to Louisville and trying to find something that you can't get back home is pretty. I think it's pretty close to say it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah. Elmer T. Lee got released yesterday here, and luckily I had a friend pick me up a bottle, but I went there today to go get one, and they're already gone.
Oh,
and
geez.
It's like 24 hours, and I mean Elmer T. Lee's I love it. It's a good value bourbon, but it's not that rare. But people go crazy over it,
and that's what happens, especially around here. I mean, in Louisville, it's just it's really a tough market, especially for bourbon, just because. I think it's one of those things that at least here there is more demand than there is supply. Right. And there's definitely been the cases where people are trying to say keep more bourbon in Louisville for the people that want to get it and get, drinking stuff like that. I don't think I'm on board with a lot of that. Right. Because there's definitely bourbon that's going to go out and it's going to go across the country. That's going to sit on shelves for weeks, if not months, if not a year. But I still don't think, I think that's the luck of the game when you are hunting and stuff like that, right? Because
it's all about the chase.
Yeah, that's a thing around here in Louisville. Like the way that we've all kind of seen this progression happen is that if something does come out, what are you going to do? Oh, you're going to go get your wife, your sister, your brother, your mother's cousin to go and buy you a bunch of bottles. So you got a stockpile of it in the basement, and that's probably not what we want to happen.
Right. Exactly. Or you're camping out, in freezing cold.
Yeah. It's all happened, right? It's definitely happened. But the funny thing with camping though is that I actually enjoy it because a lot of people, especially on forums and stuff like that, they give it a bad rap. They're like, all these people are what's causing the problem and all this sort of stuff. But look at it in this sort of light, right? Think about going somewhere with 30 friends and you guys are all just sitting in a parking lot just drinking, talking, and you have something in common, right?
Right.
So it's definitely a pretty fun experience to be able to do some of that. But would I rather not camp out? Absolutely, right? I would much rather just be able to go online and order and have it shipped to my house. That would make life 10 times easier. But that's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's like you all are kind of weird, so it's you all can be weirdos together, but I haven't done the camping yet. I might look forward to it this fall with some of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection and the Pappy releases, but I haven't gone to camping yet. I've gone to stalking down distributor trucks and just scouring every liquor store in the city, but I've just began this journey about a year ago. Like you taught me about all the, I've always drank bourbon, but never really gotten to the higher end rare stuff. So it's been just kind of cool to see this whole world of knowledge and just, strategic strategies and just to get your hands on these bottles.
Well, if anybody could predict the future, you would have bought it a long time ago and just hoarded it. But that's the thing that always happens is you can never really be prepared for these things that are going to blow up or that are going to get bigger than you can imagine, or in some cases, for some people, have a good down payment on their retirement for some of the bottles that they have.
Right. Correct.
Shopify's already taken the cash register online, helping millions sell billions around the world. But did you know that Shopify can do the same thing at your retail store? Give your point of sale system a serious upgrade with Shopify. Shopify's point of sale is your command center for your retail store. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify has everything you need to sell in person. And with Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth. Track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock. Connect with customers inline and online. Shopify helps you drive store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns, from TikTok to Instagram and beyond. And get hardware that fits your business. Take payments by smartphone. Transform your tablet into a point-of-sale system, or use Shopify's point-of-sale Go mobile device for a battle-tested solution. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Do retail right with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/bourbon, all lowercase, and go to shopify.com/bourbon to take your retail business to the next level today. Shopify.com/bourbon. If you're anything like me, then you can't get enough about bourbon. And that's why I'm a subscriber to Bourbon Plus magazine. Bourbon Plus is a quarterly publication that tells the stories from the heart of bourbon, the farmers who grow the grain, the distillers who labor over the process, and the people like you and me who raise their glasses to celebrate it all. Subscribe to Bourbon Plus magazine today at bourbonplus.com, that's PLUS.com, and use code PURSUIT at checkout for $5 off your subscription.
Yeah, so I guess getting back to some of this year's releases, did you ever open your cured oak?
So I have not opened my cured oak yet,
Okay.
right? So that's still sitting there in the wrapping paper. I just like I said, right now I've got all my bottles of bourbon sitting in my parents' basement. The last one I opened was a Weller 107.
Did you take inventory to make sure they have it?
It was funny. I had my uncle come to town, and he was like, "I want to drink some good bourbons." I said, "Okay, well, hold on. Let me go to the basement and go get some." So I brought up a Pappy 20. I brought up a few Willets and stuff like that, and he drank it, and I said, well, here's some of my prized possessions. And he goes, well, don't be surprised if one of those are making their way back home to Ohio tomorrow. And I said, well, I'm just going to hide these somewhere else in the basement.
I'm going to sleep with them tonight.
Yeah. What about yourself? Do you have any other favorites for this year?
Yeah, this year, I mean, what we're drinking now, this Booker's, the Big Man Small Batch, I really enjoyed it. The Cured Oak I thought it had mixed reviews, but I thought it was well worth, especially at retail at $75. I had a friend that went to Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and stumbled into 3 bottles and was gracious enough to let me buy one of those. But I've had about 2 drinks out of it. Now I'm like paranoid to ever have it again. And so that Cured Oak was one of my favorites. The Willits 22 this year is probably I think it's C16D. But that's probably my number one so far of this year. And then the Willits 11 is just that one's rocked my world. I really like that one.
Was that barrel 5203? I can't remember if that's one.
Yes, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that was definitely a good one.
And then I like the Elijah Craig barrel number 7. It's the 130. It's 7 or 8. It's 139.8, I think.
That was the latest one, I think.
Yes, the latest one. And it's been. I've compared all. I have 3 of them, and I've compared them. That one's been my favorite. So those have kind of been, my go-tos. Like whenever I'm Saturday night, it's something to celebrate. I'm going to those.
Now, have you kind of noticed that in the past year, a lot more distilleries have been coming out with more barrel-proof releases?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it seemed like 5 to 6 years ago, there wasn't that many. You had some, that Booker's was always barrel-proof, but you really didn't have too many. I know Parker's did a few releases that way, but now it's just, people, once you get that palate that you just want more and more, and the barrel-proof really just displays all the characteristics of the bourbon, lets it shine through, and then you can manipulate it however you want to with ice or water, and so you kind of get the bourbon as it was meant to be made, and then you can manipulate it however you want. And it's barrel proofs ruined me because anything that's 100 proof or less, it tastes like water almost now. Now,
one thing at least that I kind of look at it is that it's always a price point, right? I say if you're going to charge, for a 40, 45, maybe in a $50 bottle, I can see where it might be at 100 proof, or maybe even 115 or 90 or something like that. But when you get up to like the $100 mark, like if it's not barrel proof, it's like, man, why am I buying this?
Yeah,
because it's one of those things that I've got to figure out. Like, I guess the distiller is wanting you to drink it the way that it was made for you to be drink, but at the same time as when we think and we talk to all these people, that the price points, I think, are starting to dictate like what you expect that bourbon to be. Because as soon as you look at a bourbon and it's it's $150 and it's like 80 or 90 proof, you're just like, well, shit, might as well just drink water at this point.
At that price point, I'm looking for a higher proof.
That's what I've got a little bit left. I think like 2 pours left of a Barter House, and I'm just holding on to it. Like I don't know if I'm ever going to finish the damn bottle, just because I was like, I don't know if I want to get rid of the bottle, because I don't know if I'm going to buy another one of those products again. So I'm kind of understand you on that.
Yeah, and the Barter House, it's done, I think, isn't it? They're not.
No, I think Barter House will continue to go. That was actually all in episode 17 when we had Ewan Morgan, who is from our Masters of Whiskey from Diageo. He came on and talked about all the different types of Orphan Barrels that are going to be, pretty much there's none left, or ones that are going to have new releases, and then kind of hinted at some other ones that are coming out as well.
The next ones that are coming through, in fact, after Rhetoric 21, the one after that is my new favorite, and I can't tell you anything about it other than it's delicious.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know you think we were going to get some good information. We're going to blow up after this.
Yeah, I can tell you it's a straight bourbon.
I guess we'll take it.
And it's going to be in a bottle, and it will probably have an animal on it. So that's all you're getting.
So, you talked about, Old Blowhard being, that bottling was the last of it. Like there's never going to be any of it again. So with the releases that are out, you talked about Rhetoric having a 5-year lifespan, and after that it's all gone. What about Barter House and Lost Prophet and Forged Oak? Because I think what I've seen already is that some new Barter Houses, some new batches are starting to slowly show up on the market.
Yep. So you're seeing batch 2 of Barter House. You will probably also see more batches of Forged Oak coming through. But as regards Lost Prophet, that's another one that if you have a bottle of it, then treat it with the respect it deserves, because you're never going to see it again because it's all gone. Back to Barter House and Forged Oak. Yep, you're going to see second batches of Forged Oak, and we're already seeing the second batches of Barter House out in market as well. And we do not have a finite resource on this liquid as well, so I actually do not know how many batches they will be getting through from it. We will have other releases coming, but I cannot tell you how many.
So, what other kind of guests do you think that had some pretty good impact or good knowledge when we were going through all this? Yeah,
the Jim Rutledge story of how he brought, they were able to bring back Four Roses to, the U.S. And so it was pretty cool. And I really enjoyed talking and chatting with him. And, talking to Harlan, he's got a wealth of information, and he's a rock star. Like, Buffalo Trace is obviously one of the best out there, and they got so many good products. And I really just enjoyed sitting with him and picking his brain about, what's to be coming in, of the Single O project, and, doing this the distillery program at UK, how they're going to be starting that. That was interesting. And I really enjoyed talking with Angel's Envy's, Kyle and Kevin, just hearing about, because I see the building here in Louisville of the new distillery, and I'm really excited to see that all come together. And I know they've just been acquired by Bacardi, since we did that episode. So I'm interested to see how that direction that brand goes. Now it's under different leadership and so forth, but I'm sure it's good things to come.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change. I think just that Bacardi is going to give them more outlets and all that sort of stuff, more funding, all those things that go into making a brand very successful.
For sure. And if you're not from Kentucky, like, the Maggie Kimbrell episode's really cool, and Adam Johnson, they have a whole lot of knowledge on if you want to come visit here and do the Bourbon Trail or come hang out in Louisville. They just had and Sean with Mendulip Tours also, just to get you around the city and get you to the right places so you can kind of enjoy everything that we have to offer here.
Yeah, the great thing about doing all these episodes, what we've seen so far, is we've gotten to visit some cool places, right?
Right.
As much as, some of them, you can probably tell that some of our recordings sound pretty good. And those are the ones we do over Skype because it's really easy to get pretty much crystal clear quality, through anything that you're doing. But sometimes we have to record them in person, and we go to the distilleries or we go whose case was it? When we went to Marion Zicker's for when we did the preservation for Whiskey Row. When we actually went to that old historic mansion. Yeah. And we got to take a tour of the mansion. And then she had bottles, were they Stitzel Weller bottles?
Yeah, they were Weller, old Weller Antique 107 from
1930s, 1920s. They just had these bottles just sitting out on the desk in this one room. And we were just kind of do you sure you don't want to hide those or put those in a safe somewhere at night? Yeah. Cause we've definitely seen a lot of cool things, and kind of going back to the episode that we did with Jim, one of the funny things is when we did this episode with Jim, he was actually a very easy person to talk to. Because we can ask him one question, as you probably tell, this is why it went to 2 episodes, is he would just keep going. Yeah. He would just keep going. And we're kind of looking down at our watches should we wrap this thing up? Should we just let him just kind of keep going? And we never really wanted to stop because we know there's so many good stories that'll be lost in time because, Jim has announced his retirement from Four Roses now. So we're definitely glad that we got to do that episode before he actually does retire.
Yeah, that was funny. We normally try to keep it 30 minutes, and then I think we'd asked one question and he talked for 30 minutes straight, and we're like, well, I guess we'll just keep going. And so it ended up turning out good. So I'm excited. For some episodes we're gonna have coming this fall. We're gonna get back, hit the pavement again, and try to bring some cool guests in for you this fall and winter, and hopefully revisit some of the, guests that we had this year just to see, what's going on with their brand and what's new, what's coming up and so forth.
So bringing up another topic, there's one thing that we want to do to try to promote the awareness of the show. And we definitely think that, all the listeners out there, but we want to try to give something back to our listeners as well. So of course, any way that you ever buy anything off of Amazon or you buy anything online really, or you do anything online, you always look at reviews, right? You see how many stars or whatever it is. So this is what we're going to do. For the first 10 people that do a review on iTunes for our podcast, I don't care what you rate it. I want you to be honest, put very good feedback, and then send us an email at theduo@bourbonpursuit.com, and we'll send you a sample of something. I'll send you something from my bunker, whether it's, something, an ounce or 2 from the 14 Stag or one of these Willets we've always been talking about or something like that. We definitely just want to try to get
Kentucky Tavern.
Yeah, or some good old $9 Kentucky Tavern, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But we definitely want to try to get, some more visibility and traction in that market, just because it not only is it's going to help us in the long term to be able to get more guests and everything like that, because we'll be a little bit more well-known brand to a lot of these people, and they're not going to hesitate to get on, or we won't have to sign NDA disclosure forms or anything like that when they actually do get us on the podcast. So please. Go and, like I said, the first 10 people that write a review when they hear this episode, we'll send you, an ounce or 2 ounce sample of something that I've got open my bunker. And then I can just talk to you over email about that. So please go and do that.
I'm going to write a review right now. Because he's got a lot better stash than I do. But I'll send you something out of mine too. I got some decent ones, but nothing like he's got. So.
Oh, well, you can send him a bunch of your cured oak then.
Yeah, no, can't do that. I'm bunkering that one for a while.
I think I can splurge on at least a few ounces of some 12-year-old Lot B Van Winkle and some other things. So please, again, we would definitely appreciate writing in reviews. But I think that's about it. Right? Yeah. Anything else you want to do before we wrap up here?
No, just hope everyone's enjoyed it, and please do those reviews, because that also helps other people find it. Because if you have reviews and you're rated, then you show up on iTunes more, so you don't have to physically search for us. So it'll definitely help the podcast get out there to the people that want to enjoy it. So I appreciate you all listening, and just keep the feedback coming, and See you next time.
Well, hopefully don't get arrested for shipping bourbon at all right now, right?
Yeah, we're little peons. They're not going to bother us.
It's being shipped from Brazil or something. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll figure out the red tape here eventually.
Exactly.
But Ryan, cheers again. Thank you for being back on the episode.
Yep.
And well wishes to you and your new family.
Thank you. We'll see y'all next time.